Here's something that catches a lot of foreign companies off guard when they enter Indonesia's upstream sector. It's not the contract complexity. It's not navigating SKK gas. It's local content. TKDN. And if you're not thinking about it before you enter the market, you're already behind. Let's talk about what it is and how it actually works. I'm Tommy Jamail, 30 years in Indonesia's energy sector. This is video 7 of Indonesia Energy Explained. We covered PTK 007 in the last video, the procurement regulation governing how the K3S sources goods and services. TKDN is embedded in that framework, and today we'll go deep on into it. We covered PTK 007 in the last video, the procurement regulation governing how the K3S source goods and services. TKDN is embedded in that framework. Today, we go deep on it. TKDN, Tingkat Komponen Dalam Negeri. In plain English, it's local content. What it measures is the percentage of domestic contribution in the goods or services that you're providing. Materials, labor, manufacturing processes, how much of it and what you're selling actually comes from within Indonesia. And the government's position on that is pretty clear. Indonesia's oil and gas sector attracts enormous foreign investment. The government wants that investment to generate real economic value for Indonesian workers, Indonesian companies, Indonesian-made products. TKDN is the regulatory instrument that enforces that expectation. For the K3Ss operating under PSCs, this is not a voluntary commitment. It is a contractual obligation governed by SKK Migas embedded in the PTK 007 procurement framework. So, how does it actually get calculated? For goods, that calculation looks at the domestic content in the product itself. That could be everything from raw materials, components, manufacturing processes, even labor. All that right there is assessed against the total value of the goods. For services, it's about the proportion of the Indonesian labor, equipment, tools, and even management that's involved in delivering the service. Combined goods and services, it's a weighted calculation of both together. The higher percentage of domestic content, the higher your TKDN score is. Different categories of goods and services have different minimum thresholds, and those thresholds are defined in government regulations, and they're not negotiable. Now, verification. This is important. TKDN is not self-declared. You can't just write a number on it in a form and submit it. For goods, assessments are done by an authorized independent surveyor company, officially recognized by the Indonesian government to carry out the TKDN verification here in Indonesia. They assess the domestic content that's going to be in your product and issue a TKDN certificate. That certificate is what goes into the tender process. For services, you're documenting and demonstrating Indonesian content in your delivery model. That could be workforce composition, equipment ownership, subcontracting arrangements, and management structure. For foreign companies, and I want to be very direct about this, TKDN compliance is genuinely challenging. It's not that it's not impossible, but it requires real planning. A lot of foreign companies supply specialized goods or services where domestic alternatives don't exist. Meeting those thresholds in those categories require creative structuring, local partnerships, technology transfer arrangements, investment in local manufacturing capability. And the methodology requires detailed documentation of supply chain inputs. For a company with global supply chains, breaking down domestic versus international content at the component level is not a simple exercise. TKDN requirements also evolve. What was compliant under a previous regulation cycle may need adjustment under current rules. So practical takeaway is this. Don't try to figure TKDN out at the end of a tender process. Build it into your business model from day one. For Indonesian companies, TKDN is both a protection and a real commercial opportunity. A higher TKDN score gives you a competitive advantage in tender evaluations under PTK 007. Know your score, maximize it, it's a genuine asset. TKDN is a government mandated requirement, formally verified, embedded in every upstream procurement activity in Indonesia. For local companies, it's your competitive edge. For foreign companies, it's something you plan for before you engage and not after. Everything in this series is based on publicly available Indonesian government rules and regulations. This is not legal advice, not tax advice, and it's not investment advice. If this was useful, do me a favor, hit the like button, do subscribe, and stay with me. If you have any questions, you can also email me at tommy@jamail.id, jamail.id. Next up, Work Program and Budget, or WP&B. It's how the upstream operators plan their year, how SKK Migas reviews and approves those plans, and what this means for service companies trying to win work in this market. See you there, and thank you for watching.